What was the difference between American lions and cave lions? Lions are rightfully regarded as top-tier apex predators, thanks in no small part to their size, power, intelligence, and ability to work and hunt together. Today, we have two main groups, African lions and Asian lions. But did you know that there were other kinds of lions in prehistory? That's right, and we're here to talk about two iconic lions from the world before history, American lions and cave lions. How did the two live? When did they live? Why did they go extinct? More importantly, what were the differences between them? Well, that's what we're looking to uncover today, so sit back, relax, and let's get started. American lion. The North American plains were a heck of a place back in the late Pleistocene. Bison, mammoths, horses, and other herbivores roamed free and lived on the endless sea of grass. Of course, despite the limitless physical freedom, none of these beasts were free from fear. That's because the landscape was teeming with countless bloodthirsty predators, including bears, wolves, and large cats. When it came to large cats, they didn't get bigger or more frightening than Panthera atrox, better known as the American lion. These extinct cats were close relatives of modern lions, tigers, leopards, and jaguars, which is why they are classified as Panthera cats. They were initially considered to be a subspecies of the modern lion, Panthera leo, but were eventually classified as a separate species. To further underline its status as a true panther, the American lion had a special hyoid bone that allowed it to roar. Atrox lived and ruled relatively briefly, with paleontologists estimating it lived between 130,000 and 13,000 years ago. Others argue that the American lion actually emerged 200,000 years ago. Regardless of the truth, this is still a fairly short existence, especially when compared to the saber-toothed Smilodon fatalis, which lived in North America between 1.6 million and 10,000 years ago. The word atrox is Latin, and it means cruel or fearsome, which tells you everything you need to know about this animal's nature. Today, much of the fossil evidence for this prehistoric kitty has been unearthed at California's La Brea tar pits, with nearly 100 different specimens identified. So what can we learn from these fossils? Well, in addition to helping us determine when it lived, we can also see that the American lion was enormous. The tar pits did a good job of preserving the bones, which makes it easier to see or recreate the animal's skeletal structure. And based on the knowledge of extant big cats' skeletal structures, scientists can make educated estimates about how big the American lion was, to an extent. Most estimates suggest the extinct cat was about 20 to 25% larger than modern African lions on average, which is massive. Like with other big cats, male American lions were significantly bigger than their female counterparts. Body length ranged from 5 feet 3 inches to 8 feet 2 inches without the tail. Shoulder height was around 4 feet. Weight is much more contested because it's difficult to determine musculature and muscle density. However, educated guesses based on other cats gives us estimated ranges of 518 and 1,153 pounds for males and 385 and 805 pounds for females. The upper ends of these ranges make the American lion the largest cat ever documented and an apex predator among apex predators. These giant cats lived on plains, going after large herbivores and anything else unlucky enough to get caught. They used their large claws to grab victims and their immense jaws to suffocate them or snap their necks. Naturally, their bulk and strength were also key to bringing down prey. One thing that isn't 100% certain is whether the American lion was solitary, like most wild cats, or if it lived in groups, like modern lions. However, based on modern lion behavior and the concentration of fossils at La Brea, many scientists lean toward the belief that it was a social cat. Again, based on what we know about modern lions, there's a good chance that American lions lived in groups called prides, which were made up of females, cubs, and 1 or 2 dominant males. These prides would control territories and work together to bring down massive or super fast prey using stealth and ambush techniques. The cat's immense size also suggests that cooperative hunting was its go-to strategy. Despite their impressive speed, modern lions are not as fast as cheetahs, and they lack the endurance of wolves or wild dogs. This is why they rely on hunting as a group to succeed in the unforgiving plains. That said, even in groups, lions have a fairly poor hunting success rate of about 30%, so it's easy to assume that larger, slower American lions were even more reliant on cooperation. Additionally, some of the mega herbivores on offer during the Pleistocene were often too dangerous for solo lions to tackle. Pride life would also make protecting young a little easier. Remember, while adult lions were top dogs in town, their cubs were still vulnerable to the endless cast of killers lurking around. Other lions, saber-toothed cats, wild canids, and bears were just a few of the threats to cubs. So, just how did such a massive killer die out? Well, theories abound, but none of them are completely solid. However, the main theory points to the ripple effects of human settlement. As people hunted more and more mega herbivores, large predators like Smilodon, direwolves, and the American lion were squeezed out bit by bit, while smaller predators like cougars, lynxes, gray wolves, and coyotes could find niches and adapt to the land's new bipedal rulers. The big predators could not, and eventually paid with their lives. Despite its disappearance, the American lion remains both an icon and a mystery to scientists and animal lovers as a whole. Cave lions. Cave lions are a fairly murky topic, especially when compared to the well-preserved and documented American lion. First of all, there are long-running debates on how many species of cave lion there were exactly. The best-known species is Panthera spelea, which was determined to have diverged from modern Panthera leo lions around 500,000 years ago. Panthera spelea is also known by the common name of cave lion or steppe lion. This cat lived in the late Pleistocene and went extinct 13,000 years ago. Fossil evidence of this big cat has been found throughout Eurasia and parts of northwestern North America. This strongly suggests that cave lions crossed the Bering Land Bridge from Eurasia and made it to the Americas, where they lived and eventually sired the American lion line. Another potential species is Panthera fossilis, which is hugely divisive. Though older than Spelea, fossilis is often described as a subspecies of Spelea. However, many other scientists staunchly believe that fossilis was a separate species because it was an ancestor to Spelea. When it comes to the cave lion's evolution, most paleontologists look to Africa as the point of origin. Panthera fossilis ancestors migrated into Eurasia between 1 million and 800,000 years ago, and the oldest European fossilis fossils are believed to date back 750,000 years. The arrival of these new big cats was a shock to the local ecosystems in Europe, and a bunch of interesting prehistoric creatures were wiped out as a direct or indirect result. Creatures like the saber-toothed Meganterion, the European jaguar, and the giant hyena were outcompeted and went extinct, and a series of herbivores were overhunted. There was also a lot of interbreeding between different lion species and subspecies. Cave lions commonly interbred with modern Leo lions, and this probably gave rise to animals like Panthera spelea intermedia. One interesting thing about these cave lions is that they got smaller with time, with fossilis fossils being significantly larger than late Pleistocene spelea fossils. There were also significant changes in skull and tooth structure over time. Panthera fossilis, or Panthera spelea fossilis if you prefer, had a body length range of 8.2 to 9.5 feet and an estimated body weight range of 880 to 1,100 pounds. These numbers are roughly on par with American lions, which means fossilis was one of the biggest and scariest cats ever. Late Pleistocene Panthera spelea cats were almost a fifth of the size, with body lengths between 3.9 and 4.3 feet, as well as body weight ranges of 150 to 200 pounds. Obviously, this was a far cry from the American lion's gargantuan proportions. Intermediary species and subspecies of cave lions were also intermediary when it came to size, and they clearly show the gradual downshift in build. This slow shrinkage strongly suggests that conditions in Eurasia, particularly Europe, were increasingly harsh for large predators. Climate change, the arrival of humans, and the consequential impact of potential prey meant extra-large bodies became expensive to maintain, energy-wise. Smaller bodies were increasingly more efficient, but evidently cave lions did not shrink quickly enough to avoid their eventual extinction. Unfortunately, no one is certain what cave lions looked like. But we can deduce from modern lions and prehistoric art descriptions. Given their favored grassland environments, cave lions were likely light brown or tawny, though there's no way of telling if they had stripes or spots or other markings. Additionally, none of the paintings or carvings found in the Eurasian steppes show them with manes. Despite the maneless males, we can assume they were at least a little shaggier than modern lions, which live in fairly warm environments. Another thing that we don't know for sure is their sociability. On one hand, DNA evidence shows that cave lions were pretty closely related to tigers, which suggests that they too were largely solitary. However, their depictions in groups and their preference for open grasslands point at possible cooperation and coexistence. These cats were apex predators for most of their existence, and they went after a wide range of prey. Juvenile or injured mammoths, wild horses, deer, bear cubs, boar, bison, and aurochs were likely primary targets. Of course, one can't be an apex predator without other predators to compete with. Cave lions often jostled for survival in a land filled with leopards, hyenas, other lions, wolves, bears, and tigers.